so mad that Braun Strowman in that fucking pay-per-view, half of his airtime was him chasing Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
That was absurd. But
Wait, that was in the pay-per-view?
yeah, there was like backstage segments where Sami Zayn was like asking Triple H if Braun was there, and of course he says no, and then of course Braun is actually there, and then like they find Sammy's like hanging from his feet from the ceiling or some shit because Braun Strowman put him there, and then Triple H removed him from the ladder match because of that, which pissed me off so hard.
Which is why Brock... Is that why Brock showed up?
Not why Brock showed up. Brock
Brock still illegally won the thing?
Yeah, right. He showed up like out of nowhere.
That is so fucking stupid.
It's stupid. Like at the time when you like watch the match, because that match was damn good before that. But like when you watch it, it does make you freak out because it was a good twist. Because everyone thought he had fucking left after that. Well, not left, but was like on break or whatever.
Yeah. So Elias, you're not WWE cultured, so we're gonna give you the skinny.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar, who was the champion asshole for a long time.
It's because he killed The Undertaker, right?
Yeah. He killed him.
Yes.
Professionally. Not really.
He was paid to do it.
No, he finally lost his belt at WrestleMania this year, and then he kind of lost it in an embarrassing way, like a minute into the match, and he had lost. But anyway,
Right.
he disappeared for a while. And they were having, just last night, their big, like, Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which is the one with, like, the briefcase and the ladders.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he wasn't even in the match, but he showed up and started beating people up and took the briefcase, and they just said he won.
Brock Lesnar did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have the belt anymore, right?
He doesn't
No.
have the
So,
belt.
like, the briefcase has the contract to get the title match.
Oh, okay. So he just
So he
got
just...
it back.
Yeah, but he wasn't even in the match.
He wasn't part of the, like, there's 6. It's a 6-man match, and he wasn't one of the 6. He came towards the end of the match when someone was about to grab it. He beat the guy up, and then he climbed the ladder and grabbed it.
I guess they sort of made him like look underpowered. Like, I mean, it was shitty they took it away from him so quickly, and I could see why they would want to like make him a threat and like get it back and kind of cover their own butts. But it's really anticlimactic for everybody else involved in the title match, since now there's like more of an opening to get the title.
Mm-hmm. We've had Brock be the champion on and off like
Since
for like 2 years.
2014, yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, he's been around. Like, he came, I believe, the end of 2013, but then he lost to John and went back to MMA for a while. But then they got him under contract for like 3 years, and he's been champ since then.
So is there like is it sort of like difficult to tell where he actually stands?
It's not. He for some reason, he still has this really strong aura of being a threat because he's a big motherfucker, and in a lot of titles, he tends to bust people open like in the beginning of the match, so they'll just have the other guy bleeding with fucking blood all over his face, and it makes him look really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And when he won the title in the first place, he squashed John Cena, and what that means is he dominated the match and made John Cena look like a fucking bug.
Yeah.
And so a combination of factors keeps his aura looking really strong. It's the problem is that he never shows up on television. And at first that was a good thing, because when you keep your big champion off, it makes them feel special when they show up.
Mm-hmm.
But when you keep them off and they keep that title for so long, it starts to wither away at the title's prestige, so to speak, because now it's like, who cares? He's going to keep the belt, so why would I watch the match?
Yeah.
And so it makes it harder and harder to build up, oh shit, this guy's going to beat him, this guy's going to beat him, and then Brock still wins.
Oh yeah, that's kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the biggest example of that, I'm sorry to friggin' keep us going, but nonetheless, last year's WrestleMania, there's this guy named Roman Reigns. You probably heard him just because people boo him to death, used to boo him to death. He's actually okay now.
Yeah, I'm aware of him.
Yeah, but nonetheless, he is one of Vince McMahon's big pet projects. He wants him to be the next John Cena, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And they were supposed to pull the trigger on him winning the big title from Brock at that WrestleMania. But because there was so much backlash to him winning that title, they changed the script last minute. So fucking Brock beat him. at that fucking title. And then they had a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view like the month after where he did win it from Brock. And then Brock got back, so it's
like
title.
the next Middle Eastern tournament.
It's a mess, but...
And that's Wrestling 101.
It's okay, we got AEW coming and fucking it's awesome so far.
This is a good cold open for Camp Rock.
Disclaimer! Crossing the Line is not a show intended to bully or harass anyone. Do not go out of your way to find or mess with the authors featured on our podcast. They make what we do possible, and we love them. And you. Thanks. Enjoy.
Camp the Rock.
I mean, this was basically us watching it. We were just talking about other shit and making jokes while it went on.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if the songs were as good as I remember, or if it was just me remembering them from hearing them 1,000 times in 2009.
Well, if you remember, you have a very special bit you wanted to start not too long ago, where you'd like to sing a song from.
Oh, true.
I can't remember how any of them start. I mean, I know the choruses and
You were a Disney kid.
I know all the choruses fine, but
Here, I'll look up some lyrics and I'll give you a start.
Can you play them on your melodica?
I can play with my didgeridoo.
Your didgeridoo.
I'll go get it.
A didgeridoo.
Okay.
What's a didgeridoo? Let's see, this is me, here I am, we rock, introducing me. Too cool, hasta la vista, this is our song.
Hasta la vista, this is how I say goodbye to you.
Alright.
Yeah, I know the choruses, but
Let's see here.
how does sound not? Maybe the muffle from the case will make a good sound.
I'm sure it'll pick up nicely.
Apparently I've got to undo this now. Just play, what are those titles again?
Let's see here. There is This Is Me, Here I Am, We Rock, Introducing Me, Too Cool, Hasta La Vista, This Is Our Song.
Those titles suck.
Yeah.
Unknown from ME.
I would say we rock, please.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll just look it up on YouTube. Give me a minute.
I thought you had the lyrics.
I mean, I do. Would you prefer just the lyrics?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want more clipping audio.
Let's see, Too Cool?
No, we rock, please.
Oh, We Rock, sorry. That's how forgettable these songs are. We Rock.
Okay.
Oh my god! That's great.
I'm gonna blow the mic out.
Alright. So, the pre-chorus and Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
All that you need is the music to take you to some other place where you know you belong. Chorus, raise your hands up in the air and scream. We're finding our voice, following our dreams, 'cause we rock. We rock.
Wow, I really only do remember the chorus to that.
We rock on.
We rock on. No one in the world's gonna bring us down. Longer we go, the better we sound. We rock on.
We got the music in our song. We got the most. When we fall down, our water.
Steven is sweating. I'm sweating.
Rock on.
This lyrics.
This is fucking stupid.
When you blow on that thing really hard, you got a vein on your forehead that pops.
It's so taxing.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Is that how you play it?
Yes.
Oh my god, it's just a big
I mean, I can play a real note, but
It's just a big tube you blow
yeah,
into.
you just have to suction your mouth really hard on it and
It's not
trying to imagine.
You're almost there. And here comes the noise from play. You're blowing it directly at the apartment below you.
I was about to say, fucking hell.
They say, oh no, the neighbor's on his 3 p.m. blow noises again.
They're gonna think a train's coming through.
Honey, there's no train tracks near here. What is that noise?
Oh shit.
Actually, there are train tracks near here.
My neighbor Eli's blown into his big rain stick again.
Guess leave him be, or else he'll dry up the city. Anyway, Camp Rock.
I love how every fucking time I come over here there's something new. This is great.
Steven, what's your favorite part about Camp Rock?
I like the part where everyone keeps mooching off of Adam Sandler's resources and no one says thank you.
Yeah, that happened.
It sure did.
Yeah, they filmed on a set of Grown Ups, the same camp cabin.
You saw the credits. It said Kevin James. They credited
it's
him
true,
and
he
he
was
didn't.
there.
They credited him. He didn't show up, but they didn't credit Adam Sandler.
He took the check though.
Indeed.
What did you actually think of Camp Rock? Are you going to remember the plot?
Let's see here. It's very generic in terms of what it is. It's what it's what you think of when you think a Disney Channel like special movie, like the be yourself, the do your thing kind of deal, follow your dreams, that kind of shit. But it's like other than that, it's very forgettable.
Do you remember Oliver?
I remember Oliver. Oliver was cool. He's from the second one, right? He's the bus driver.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Oliver. He was the best part of the whole franchise. I wish they'd make a movie
He
about
was
him.
in one scene where he ran away from a tumbling bus.
Oh yeah, he pushed that.
That was
sucker
never
over.
resolved. Their bus fell over a fucking ledge, and then they just went to camp and like nothing happened.
He never
They
came
came
back.
in on a like farmer's truck.
Yeah, but there's still a bus in a ravine that was never taken care of.
Yeah, they.
Disney Channel spent so much money to throw that bus over a ledge.
Yeah, they really did wreck an actual bus.
For like a 2-minute scene.
It didn't even delay the brothers' arrivals to the camp. They
I
showed up with
know.
everybody else.
It wasn't even an inconvenience.
It did
It
nothing.
was the only memorable set from the entire franchise of 2 movies.
They just did that to scare Oliver away. Because they were sick of it.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, it didn't really reveal very much about the movie at all.
Camp Rock is a 2008 Disney Channel TV movie that was made to inspire the music inside of us all.
It was a girl wants to go to Camp Rock, but her parents say either they can't afford it or they don't want to pay for her to go because they're like, no way. Actually, they never say that. She just says she wants to go. Actually, she doesn't even say she wants to go.
Yeah,
She-
they just like
No, it was like implied she was leaving flyers around for her mother to find.
Yes, and
Oh,
her mom
okay.
was like, oh, you really want to go to the Camp Rock, huh? And she's like, oh, I guess. And then, like, her mom tells her the next day, she's like, I got you tickets to Camp Rock. And then she screams, and then her mom's like, also, you have to work there. And she's like, doesn't mention it.
Oh no, they're gonna think I'm poor.
Yeah, and then she pretends to be rich because somebody else there is. Even though, like, maybe one person there is rich, like, it's not really,
right, they never establish if it's the
like a
entire
rich-
group, because they have a little niche group, the rich girl does, and they never establish if everyone in that group is rich or just her.
And yet here we are with the pinnacle plot point of the movie being that they find out she's working in the cafe with her mother.
even though she barely works at all during the movie.
It's very
Right.
true.
Yeah.
She mainly just hangs out and complains.
Yeah.
She's not very likable. You
She
should
did
mention
do
that.
whiteface that one time.
Yeah, Mitchie does wear flour on her face.
In a very offensive manner.
She said, yeah, she sells Papa John pizzas
Is
with whiteface.
she did to disguise herself from another white person.
Okay, so yes, Mitchie is pretending to be rich. She's actually poor. When she gets called out for this, like all at once by the rich girl, she basically gets freaking gaslighted instantly because her mom is there. Her mom's like, "Why are you ashamed of my job?" And then Joe Jonas is like, "You lied to me, bitch." And then the rich girl's like, "Yeah, she's so bad." And everyone's like, "Yeah." And they just like surround her and scream at her. Like every major character in a row screams at her. And she just like cries, and it's just sad.
She becomes public enemy number 1 for no other reason than she is not rich.
Not to mention the bulk of the plot takes place over like 3 days.
Yeah.
And yet they all seem to care, love, and appreciate each other in that time.
Yeah, there's like, it's so fast. And then I guess everything's fine at the end for some reason.
Yeah, like
And everyone hates her.
Bad Girl Tess tried to frame her to get her out of the show for some reason, as if that means
Oh
anything.
yeah. So
But then at the end, she gets sad because her mother neglects her and then tries to redeem herself, but she's still a bitch, so it doesn't matter.
the main thing is this big camp show at the end of camp. They select like 10 kids to do shows that are really good, and then even though she got kicked out of the contest for being a terrible person, at the end she's like, "Hey, can I perform too?" And the leader's like, "Yeah, you can go on."
The counselor's like, "I knew you didn't do it." And
It's all resolved. Even though every other camp kid that actually deserves to be there and was a good kid doesn't get to play.
Right.
Yeah, there were like 3 showcases in this thing where the entirety of camp is supposed to participate in.
Exactly. Fucking, it's on their calendar. Like,
Yeah, it's a
fucking
big thing.
an entire week is spent prepping. What do the other kids have to do?
And then Camp Rock 2 is like, there's a new rich camp that opens across the lake. And everybody there is like, "We're rich and cool." And then everybody leaves Camp Rock to go join them. So they have no counselors, so the kids have to step up and be the counselors to like the new younger 5-year-old kids that are there for some reason. And the other kids. And they do a bad job and lose, but it's all okay. And yeah, that's the plot of Camp Rock 1 and 2. 2 had a much higher production value, but it had no charm and it was instantly forgettable.
Yeah, like with the first one, I could see where, like, as I remember, the first Camp Rock had like a good following for it. Like, it has a cult following. I mean, but nonetheless, second one just lacked all the energy. It had like fucking 3 times as many songs as the first one.
And
Yeah.
slapstick humor with children, and one of the funnier looking Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, that's why there's 2,000 stories about the first Camp Rock and none about the second one.
I think I had described it when we watched it last week as like an episode, like somebody was writing a script for an episode of Big Time Rush, but Nick thought it was shit and threw it out. But then the same guy brought the same script over to Disney, and not only did they approve of it, they pulled it apart like saltwater taffy into an hour and a half.
You know, now I think about it, that other camp counselor is just a really low-budget Gustav.
He was evil. He did walk down the stairs in a very evil manner.
His shades, his fucking control, making him practice over and over.
And there was the scene where the Camp Rock kids were breaking into Camp Star, and there was spotlights on them the entire time, and they're like looking around, and yet nobody bats an eye. Like the whole thing is like a spotlight framing them against the wall, but it doesn't change anything.
I really hate this rabbit hole we're getting into.
Yeah, we should fix that by reading fan fiction.
All
What do you
right.
say, fellas?
Let's see here. Well, who went first last time?
I don't remember. That was like a month ago.
I'll go first, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
I've still got so many rocket power stories saved.
Same.
This one's called Who Wants to Marry... Oh wait, we can't say that. Never mind. Somebody wants to marry somebody. And their children.
I can't wait to figure out who.
I hate that you prefaced that with rocket power.
I can't believe it, Patrick. We're really here, SpongeBob said, looking up at the sign that's read, "Welcome to Camp Rock," in big, admiring eyes.
Well, I really hope it's not the Camp Wrestling episode just re-scripted.
Where? Patrick asked, looking around himself, not seeing what had made SpongeBob so amazed. Here, Camp Rock! SpongeBob exclaimed, waving his arms around but finding it pretty hard since he still wasn't used to being out from underwater.
Okay, well, we've established it's the real actual Camp Rock, not the Bikini Bottom version.
They're like
An inch high.
3 inches tall.
Yeah.
He's the size of an actual hand sponge.
I'm sure one of them will still be horny for the Jonas Brothers.
Oh my god.
I think Mitchie will fall in love with Patrick.
Well,
Camp Rock! It's a good thing I brought my snorkel, Patrick squeaked, taking out his breathing tube from his mouth and dropping it on the ground. Patrick, you need that to breathe, his best buddy advised him. Patrick argued, going all blue in the face.
What? What snorkel? What?
his opposite of a snorkel.
Like the water helmet they wore?
I guess he just has like a tube of water that he's using as life support. I don't know.
He's like an IV with a rack.
He tore it out. Patrick argued, going all blue in the face, but then realizing he could just pick up the tube from the ground and put it back in his mouth. So
Back in his wrist.
his wrist.
I'm just walking around with these metal IVs.
It's covered in dirt. He just sticks it back in his arm.
Patrick,
These
I don't,
2-inch tall IVs.
Patrick, I don't think you're qualified to do that. Who's the doctor here? Oh, Patrick, someone's coming towards us. SpongeBob jumped happily by the gate and stared at the guy with dark floppy hair and a girl with a huge grin on her face walking towards them.
It's
That could
Mitchie
be
and Joe. No, it's Mitchie and Joe.
Patrick gasped and tried to steady himself before he fell down.
Wasn't his name Shane?
It's Shane Gray!
There you go.
Fuck.
It's Shane Gray! And I don't really know who that is, but wow! She's here!
Don't bang the
Sorry.
recording table. That is a harsh spike on the monitor.
Oh my god. Patrick screamed, pointing his fingerless hands at the people.
He has fingers when he needs them.
True. But then getting his attention drawn up in a very round, very soft stone lying on the ground. Hey guys, how may we help you? Shane asked politely, trying to peel Patrick from his chest, who very excitedly placed himself there after yelling, Jingle bells are ooh!
Patrick is horny for Shane.
Oh no!
Patrick's as tall as Shane.
No, he's tiny still. He's just on his chest.
Yeah.
He peels the 1-inch starfish off his chest.
Throws it in the trash. Bye, Patrick.
Why hello there, I am SpongeBob SquarePants, and this is Patrick Star, introduced SpongeBob. We know who you are, smiled the girl as she helped Shane get Patrick off his chest. You do? SpongeBob asked in surprise, putting on a pair of gloomy eyes. The girl
Gloomy
nodded.
eyes?
Why
Why?
gloomy? He's upset.
He doesn't like to be recognized.
Of course. Well, I'm Mitchie, and this is Shane. If you follow us, we will show you to your cabins,
Oh.
said
This
Mitchie.
is Camp Rock 2 then, probably, since they're counselors in that
Could
one.
be Camp Rock 3.
Oh no, said Mitchie, finally getting Patrick to unglue himself from Shane. If you'll just follow me. Already? I thought we'd go to the carnival first. Patrick started in a disappointed voice.
Patrick does not care to be here. Despite loving Shane.
Where are we? I want to go to the carnival.
The two teens were looking confused when SpongeBob explained to them that they were in Camp Rock and not in the underwater glove world like Patrick thought. Whatever. Well, that explains why that big sign says tie your shoelaces. Patrick scoffed, starting to follow Mitchie. SpongeBob looked around himself but could not see the sign that Patrick seemed to see. Come on now, Shane cooed, taking Sponge's hand.
Whoa.
Come on now.
There is a sign. No, there is not. Shane laughed.
What? Is Patrick falling into madness?
He is. He's saying.
This has already gone on long enough.
I'm already exhausted.
There's a sign. No, there's not.
No, there is not. Wow, Ta's our cabin? Patrick exclaimed, twirling around the cramped room. It's fascinating. No, Patrick, this is a janitor's closet, Shane explained, pulling Patrick out from the closet and leading him to the cabin, followed by Mitchie and Sponge. This is your cabin, Shane announced, proudly stepping in. Patrick jumped up and down for a couple of seconds and jumped onto Shane's back, yelling, Blue is my favorite color! No one dared to ask him what did blue have to do with anything. SpongeBob put down his bags on the bed and whispered something to Patrick, making him almost immediately jump off the guy's back.
You know, I'm just thinking of these characters moving in these slow motions, and it's very, like, jarring in my mind.
These two creatures that have no fucking place here.
Just Patrick jumping for actual seconds, and then jumping on Shane's back as SpongeBob gently sets his bags down and turns around.
Oh my god. What did you say to him? Asked Mitchie, surprised at the quick change in Pat's mood. SpongeBob let a secret smile spread and a single eyebrow raise. That's just between me and Patrick. He smirked and everyone turned to look at Patrick.
What the fuck?
I'm getting a new tube of toothpaste, he sang and danced around the cabin before falling out the open window. Everyone rushed outside to check on Patrick.
I was hoping it'd just be gone.
I was hoping it just ended.
This story is too Patrick-centric.
This is stupid. Let's do that again, he giggled, starting to run, but Mitchie held him back with a laugh. It's time for the open jam. We get jam? Patrick shouted, but Mitchie laughed and shook her head, giving Patrick a reason to frown.
Mitchie and Shane are very patient.
Who wants to go first? Brown asked, scanning the crowd. Some people were shouting and begging like mad, but SpongeBob and Patrick stood out to Brown. You don't say. And were called up first. Ready, Patrick? SpongeBob asked, getting his guitar. For what? Rock music! Patrick was really confused.
Patrick still doesn't know what's going on.
Patrick was really confused, but grabbed the mic that was handed to him and scratched his back with it.
God.
Which is not why it was handed to him.
It's nothing but static and scratching sounds through.
Patrick's into experimental harsh noise.
I like that they had to specify that that's not why it was handed to him. The music started and Sponge played away on his guitar while Patrick began to understand what the mic was used for. If you would be jelly and I would be a fish, if we got married, what would it make us? SpongeBob sang. Jellyfish, shouted everybody together. What did you say? Spell it out.
Wow, he's great.
Jellyfish. Let's try that again. Woo!
They're really good.
Mr. Brown is just nodding, going, "Oh yes, I'm glad I called on these two." If you would be jelly and I would be a fish and we got married, what would it make us? That song went on for another 10 minutes, repeating the same two lines until Brown had the words stuck in his head and decided to put a stop to it.
SpongeBob abuses his mic time.
He's the one who put them there.
He put him on the spot. He should have expected some BS.
Exactly. He plugged out the stereo in the sound system, and what was left, the sound of SpongeBob playing on the guitar, which now everybody realized he could not play properly. Patrick and SpongeBob made their way off stage into the welcoming arms of the Camp Rockers.
Oh, okay. I thought they were going to be like, "You are banned from Camp Rock. You don't understand."
No, they loved it.
Oh yeah, they kept saying how good it was.
Dear. After being congratulated at least 50 times by each person, they crawled over to the table at the back with a couple of other people and sat down. That was great, a blonde girl squeaked, who they found out was Tess Tyler.
No way.
She would never. Who happened to be the daughter of TJ Tyler, who is very well known in Bikini Bottom. So it took a while for the guys to adjust being around her. Yeah! Everyone around the table chorused. I know, wasn't it so great? Patrick agreed. What was great? Everybody stopped their talking and stared at Patrick, who was drooling and staring blankly at Tess. She made a disgusted face and yelled, ooh, ew, and went to another table.
Well, there goes that. They are no longer friends with Tess.
That's a shame. Her dad's really popular where they're from. Dear. What's wrong with her? Asked SpongeBob, but didn't really expect anyone to answer. Sponge and Pat were ignored for some time for some reason that they didn't know and didn't try to figure out. SpongeBob was about to go back to the cabin because he was tired after their journey from Bikini Bottom, and the performance got everything they had left from them. Pat, SpongeBob began, but then noticed Patrick sleeping on Mitchie's lap. She was trying to...
Oh, shit.
Oh, no!
Sleeping on her lap.
She just has a starfish covering her crotch up.
Yeah, I'm still confused on the scale of these creatures.
True. Let's see here. Is this like...
You haven't said anything to the like negate that they're tiny.
Right. So I'm just going by, fucking Sponge movie rules where they're just actual sized.
Steven, you can draw that later.
Oh, God.
I mean, that is around when that movie came out, right?
Let's see. That was like 2006, wasn't it? The SpongeBob movie? The first one?
might have been even earlier.
Let's see here. Can't remember. But nonetheless. She was trying to gently slide him off her lap, but when she finally succeeded, Pat fell to the floor and banged his head on the table. Jeez. Oh, he declared tiredly, but fell asleep before Sponge could say anything. No, I think he's in a coma.
2004.
Oh, okay.
Also, it only has a 7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
And a
a shame.
66 on Metacritic.
Yeah,
I really thought it went better.
I was about to say, that's why we don't do critics. But let's see here. He had no choice but to try and carry his friend back to the cabin, and Shane offered to help. Shane found it very surprising that Patrick was so heavy. Oh, Shane found it very upsetting that Patrick was so heavy. I'm glad I reread that. But Sponge was ready for it and took it with no surprise whatsoever.
Okay, so they're probably like human sized if he has trouble lifting them up.
Oh, good lord. So it's like...
Which means Patrick was crushing Mitchie between under her legs.
Which means Patrick was like weirdly sexual with Mitchie.
Patrick's fucking 2-ton ass squishing this poor girl. She pushed him off, he fell forward, banged his head on the table. That's horrible.
She saw SpongeBob come in. She's like, no, it looks like. And she pushed him off.
Hide your shame, Mitchie. Hide your shame.
What does this guy eat? Shane asked, dropping Patrick on the bed, but unfortunately when Patrick's body hit the bed hit the ground, followed by Patrick.
Oh my god.
Jeez, Shane shouted, running his hands through his hair.
Jeez!
Shane's an asshole.
I mean, he's not directly financially associated with the camp, but he is in some way, and Patrick just destroyed one of the beds. It could have been his if he was like sleeping next to Mitchie or something.
I mean, he does
only gets one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SpongeBob stood staring at the pink starfish lying in between broken bed bits. So he didn't just break the bed's legs, he literally shattered the mattress with his weight.
And Mitchie was just taking that?
She was getting a lot out of it.
Mitchie is a thick bit. She can handle that.
Hell yeah. He thought some things through. As pink bubblegum wrappers started to form in his head, he spoke.
What?
Wait, oh, I'm sorry. Shit, I fucking... SpongeBob stood staring at the pink starfish lying in between the broken bed bits. He thought some things through. As pink bubblegum wrappers started to form in his head, he spoke. We're leaving tomorrow, stated SpongeBob.
What?
His friend broke the bed, so
You've been there one day!
not even a day! Like a fucking...
They're gonna get billed if they don't leave.
It's been heavily alluded to. Camp Rock is very expensive.
How did they afford it? What's the conversion
SpongeBob has a job.
He was the one who wanted to be here.
SpongeBob hasn't done anything.
We're here! Camp
Patrick's
Rock!
God.
Patrick ruined their... They just talked about how they were tired from the journey there!
SpongeBob has had nothing but a good time until now. He was on board.
Sat there to think about it.
Shite. You're what? Shane stuttered, still trying to catch his breath from the exercise he got carrying Pinky. Yeah, I have to work in the Krusty Krab, he said in a duh tone. Barely let me off for one day. Mitchie raised an eyebrow and smiled, but Shane let out an angry sigh and stormed out of the room. Me too, Shane. Me
Shane really
too.
likes the Sponge Brothers.
I mean, on the one hand, he said, "Jeez!" and ran with his hands through his hair. On the other hand, he's like, "I love these guys." Oh, my friends.
He, doesn't like visitors, she said, and followed him out.
Okay.
Followed him out. Ah! What's wrong, Shane? Mitchie asked from the bed beside him. I had the worst nightmare, he began. Mitchie
Are
motioned
they allowed
him.
to be in the same cabin?
I don't
They're
know.
sleeping together. They're adults.
Mitchie motioned him to go on as she came over. SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star came to Camp Rock, he told her, and she stared at him blankly before bursting out in laughter. You have the most vivid and weird imagination I've ever seen, she giggles, coming closer to him. Is that a good thing? He smiled, leaning in closer to her. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, it was a dream.
There was a knock at the door and Brown came in. Shane, would you mind sharing your cabin with someone? He asked,
no.
and Mitchie climbed off his knees, moving back to her own
What?
bed.
What?
Oh no!
She was mounting him.
I
Who?
was standing outside the whole time.
Who? Shane meets SpongeBob and Patrick. Ah, the end. I actually like that ending a lot.
I rate that 4 broken bed legs out of 5.
I rate that a patty mobile in the Camp Rock parking lot.
I rate that a ruined trip out of 5.
My God. That was crazy.
That wasn't half bad. That wasn't half
That was
bad.
quite the trip.
It was like the idea of fucking Brown introducing them.
I'm gonna grab a phone charger and use the bathroom.
Okay. Camp Rock commercial.
Do you want to come to Camp Rock? No.
Oh. Please watch the ad so we get the full ad revenue.
Don't break our beds. We will shame you.
We will shame you.
Shane doesn't like it.
Shane is having a lot of feelings.
He got so upset just because Patrick was heavy. That's not cool.
After he was laying all over his girl.
True. I mean, she was laying up all over him until Brown barged in.
She's like, oh.
Oh.
Brown.
Oh,
Brown.
brown bricks.
Brown bricks.
Brown sound.
Another LaCroix. Haven't you had enough?
Very dehydrated.
What do you think would happen if they made SpongeBob and Patrick drink LaCroix? Breathe it, I mean.
Breathe it.
Yeah, Patrick's fucking IV is full of LaCroix.
Their skin would get over-oxidized and they would explode. Their veins would literally pop. That's what happens when you have too much oxygen in your veins.
Oh my god.
God, that's scary.
That is.
Anyways.
That would explain his mindset when they got there, all delusional and shit.
Anyways. Chapter 1. Mitchie took a deep breath, looking right into Shane's eyes. People around them applauded and campers started hugging each other. A second later, she could feel Caitlin hugging her and telling something she didn't understand. Not only was that the best night of her life, but she also overcame her stage fear.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Is this after the first Camp Rock?
Maybe. I can't tell. I have to go make interview with the press. Superstar's voice broke Mitchie out of her thoughts. She only nodded slowly. Meet me at docks in an hour? He asked, and again she just nodded. Shane began to walk around his brothers when Mitchie finally found her voice.
These sentient robots.
The Camp Rock bots. Shane, she whispered and saw that Superstar looked at her. Could you... She sighed. If they ask him about me, could you not tell them who I am? Don't worry, I won't, he assured, and once again walked to his brothers. Sighing, Brunette started looking for her sisters in the crowd. After a few minutes, she saw Dallas talking to Caitlin and Lola. All of them were laughing happily when older sister's head turned in Mitchie's direction. Come here, May. I'm guessing that's short for Mitchie. May. Come here, May. Girl nodded at her, and with a smile on her face, Mitchie came right in Dallas's arms. Girl hugged her tightly. I know I've told you this tonight, but you were incredible, like always. Thanks, Dals. So, I heard someone is going to canoes with Shane tonight, Caitlin said, smirking, but then she became serious. Are you going to tell him? I don't know, Kate. Probably only that one thing. School? Mitchie nodded. I don't think that second thing is of any of his business, she whispered, looking at her hands.
Huh.
Someday you have to tell him, Lola said. Brunette looked at Mulatto.
I wonder what she knows that Shane doesn't.
I wonder who Lola is. And Dallas. Maybe someday. I have to go to my cabin and change. I don't want to go there in this. She looked at her heels. You sleep with us tonight, right? She asked her sister, who just nodded. Okay, I see you later. This is written by like a horny foreign man. Mitchie walked to her cabin, which after beach jam she shared with Lola and Caitlin. Not far away, she saw Gray brothers talking to at least 10 reporters. Shane looked at her smiling lightly, and she smiled back. In the cabin, she changed fast in baggy pants and t-shirt that she took from her godfather Jethro. Yeah, someone would say it's not the outfit to her meeting celebrity, but she could care less. She just fixed her makeup and brushed her hair. When she finished, she sat down on the bunk bed, thinking of what should she say to Shane. That's like a tongue twister. What should she say to Shane? What should she say to Shane? Or rather, how much true he should hear. She didn't think she was ready to tell him about Rosie. To tell the truth, she wasn't ready to tell anybody about her. Kate knew about it by accident, and Lola, Baron, and Sander knew because of Caitlin's big mouth. We'll pretend that's Sandler.
Well, the girl she was talking to in the beginning were Tessa's friends.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, her blonde head friend tried to explain those three why Mitchie lied and ended telling more than she should. But in the end, it was a good thing, 'cause all of them said they would do exactly the same thing. After a few minutes, Teenager looked at the clock and saw that it's time to go, so she left the cabin and went to the docks. She sat next to Canoe with her back on it. She didn't even know that she started humming until she heard a voice behind her. Sounds familiar, Shane said when he noticed it. It was Gotta Find You. Maybe you're not the only one who had songs stuck in his head entire summer, Mitchie said with a faint smile. He laughed sitting next to her.
Austin says like, okay. Sometimes I forget how goddamn stupid you are until I'm right in front of you, Mitchie.
I still can't believe it was you entire time. Why? Is it that hard to believe? Mitchie asked, raising the eyebrow at him. No, it's just that we spent so much time together, and you didn't sing to me even once. He looked at her. Why didn't you sing when I did the audition? Mitchie sighed loudly. Because I'm someone totally different than you said at Beach Jam. I'm not like everybody else. You have no idea how different I am from all of them. Then tell me, Shane said, and Mitchie looked at him in surprised. I want to know real Mitchie. I want to be sure that person I spent so much time this summer was real. Mitchie looked at her hands, which looked really interesting at this moment. I don't know if I'm ready to tell you this. Why? Brunette looked right into his eyes. Because I think I'd rather want you to look at me as a liar than who I really am. Maybe I should decide this? He asked, mad. She sighed. You're doing this a lot today. What? Sighing. Will you tell me? Shane begged. Mitchie hugged her legs and put her chin on her knees. This is hard for my brain to keep up with. I always get stuck with the poor English ones.
You've definitely gone into a number of them.
I'm invested. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We follow.
I'll tell you the story, but you have to promise not to interrupt, Mitchie begged, looking at Shane. He just nodded. She took a deep breath. Once in Stillwater lived a little girl who was loved by everyone in town, but when she was 7, she was moved to D.C. After her parents divorced, she was going to start everything again, but people there weren't that nice. Somehow, she got used to this and even was liked at school. But she was different than other popular. She didn't go shopping or gossiped or looked at boys as much as you look at this age.
I'm going to be so mad if her big secret is that she's just not... Either she's not, like, rich and famous, or she's just, like, different than other girls. It's actually a bit of a different girl.
Oh my god.
No, she's clearly telling the story of a different girl that moved to D.C. She helped kids who were bullied, geeks thrown in the trash can, or girls whom someone destroyed clothes. Yeah, that sure is getting picked up. And we're back. We got those technical difficulties taken care of all of a sudden. But we're back. We're ready to jump right back into this long paragraph.
Lay it on us.
Let's see where did I leave off. Okay. She helped kids who were bullied, geeks thrown in the trash can, or girls whom someone destroyed clothes. But when she was 12 years old, someone started rumors on the same day everyone hate her. But you know rumors passing by, so she didn't care much, even if it hurt. Not that those were her so-called friends or kids she passed by on the hallway, but those she helped. Those who knew how much it hurts also turned their backs on her. She bit her lip. She had treats. There was even petition, if you hate Michelle Torres, or if you hate Mitchie Torres, sign this.
Sign this for what purpose?
Just if you hate her.
They're just trying to spy her getting a statistic that shows people hate her.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
They just like paper airplane it to her hair. Oh, it's a list of everyone who hates me with a signature.
Great.
This is unnecessary, elaborate.
In DC.
I'm sure I'm glad someone took the time to do this.
She's writing very high and mighty about herself, despite everyone hating her. She didn't know why they were so mean to her, and when she asked why, they were just saying, "'Cause you're fat."
I wonder if this is the author projecting.
Maybe.
You're fat.
After a few months ended with eating disorders and cutting, Mitchie looked down. This summer was supposed to be my rest from reality and problems, but then Tess showed up, and what she did... I wanted to run away from bullying, but Tess reminded me how I feel every day. Is it so strange that I wanted to run away from it? Mitchie asked, looking at Shane, and he took her hand in his. No, it isn't. And what Tess said? It doesn't matter, she interrupted him. He looked at her confused, really. You know, I was telling the truth then on canoes. I know what it's like, maybe not in this meaning, but I know, Mitchie looked at him. You have no idea how similar we are. My lie and your attitude, this all was because everyone around us doesn't accept us for who we are. A lot of people looks at me as celebrity, not as a person, and label won't let us play our music, he whispered.
Oh yeah, he did say that.
God, we really are similar. He sighed.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
God, we really are similar.
God, we really are similar.
He sighed. I can't believe I was mad at you for lying when I did exactly the same thing over 3 years. It's past. Yeah, Shane's eyes locked with hers. So, what do you say that we take one of those things in the water? He looked at the canoe. You promised.
Those are called
He
canoes,
smirked
Shane.
and Mitchie smiled at him. Sure. That's it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that plot point never got resolved, so it was nice for somebody to write that. I'm sure they had a reason to write that.
Would you like to take a guess at what the crossover was?
Chalk Zone.
What's that fucking reality show called? Biggest Loser?
No, you're both wrong. The
Damn it.
correct answer was NCIS.
What?
Oh, great, because I almost read that one.
They clearly gave it away by saying Godfather Jethro, Leroy Jethro
I
Gibbs,
was wondering
in
about
DC.
That. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I expected there to be like a crime or something.
Is it the... What's the title? I mean, cut this out, but... That's the one. Dang.
Yeah,
It's like 1,000 words.
the
Nothing happens.
The description is Mitchie Torres, teenager from DC with connections to the Navy. Oh, I guess I should have read this better to realize the grammar. She lived through an abused ex-Marine father, bullying, taking away her innocent miscarriage. Now there are two things that keep her going: her music and her NCIS badge.
Yeah, I was really excited to read that too. It's so funny.
That was a good
Oh, and there was one comment from I'm 14 and this is deep. Awesome!
This has been, I'm 14, and I think this is deep.
Alright, rate that tale.
I give that statistical proof that people think that she is ugly.
Let me just pull up how much money Camp Rock made.
That number's not going to make me happy no matter how high it is.
Let's see. Oh my god.
How much?
In just DVDs, Camp Rock sold $23 million.
Jesus Christ. And that's in 2009. Fucking hell.
That's not even including all the times it aired on TV for free.
Oh my god.
I rate that story an NCIS badge with Mitchie Torres written on it.
Anyways, since that was basically the climax of the movie didn't actually happen, it's worth about a third of the movie's worth, which means that was worth $7 million. So I rate it $7 million.
I want to change my rating. I rated a little leaflet survey in each DVD where you have to answer whether or not the character is ugly and send it in for a chance to meet her and tell it to her face.
Assuming each copy cost $1, that's 23 million people.
She had to get called ugly to her face by 23 million people.
God.
Let's see how much money Camp Rock 2 made.
Okay, but you have to read your story after this.
Okay.
After you debunk the mission.
Is Camp Rock 2 a real camp? It's one of the questions.
Is Camp Rock 2 a real camp?
Well.
Not Camp Rock 2.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
James has a drive-in now. Wow. It's crazy.
He looks younger than he's ever looked.
I know. James, you got a drive-in theater.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's great for him.
Oh,
We
yeah.
should go.
I should.
Yeah, we should all go. It'd be fun.
Can make him watch Camp Rock.
He has to buy a license for that.
Alright, so James, you saw the movie. Now, here's the important part.
He's referring to James Wolfe of AVGN fame.
Yeah.
Well, Camp Rock 2 only made $7 million.
I wonder why.
that's a big
Apparently, it was also in theaters.
What?
Well, how big of a hit the first one was.
Yeah, true.
Oh, wait.
And then
It won't
clear
load.
failure of the second one, which made the third one non-existent.
Is there a Camp Rock video game?
Okay, no, maybe it didn't go to theaters. I don't see any sales for that.
Bummer.
But still, 6 million or 7 million is a lot of money.
That's still okay.
It is 1/3 of the phrase of the first one. How much money do you think they spent to make the movie?
Good question.
Camp Rock 2 undoubtedly costed a lot more than the
Yeah.
first one.
When are we gonna play Camp Rock the Final Jam on Nintendo DS?
Oh yeah, there is a game.
The models are surprisingly meh.
They look funny.
Dude, this hot dog is amazing. It's a taste sensation.
I'm just standing in someone's yard.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I want to be thoroughly entertained. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten a musical number yet. Well, I mean, yours was kind of one, but it had no rhythm or rhyme to it.
Yeah, true.
Okay, well.
He got stuck in his head.
Steven had one, he just didn't read it like a song. Well, I was gonna not read the intro because it gives it away, but because the first word also gives it away, I'm just gonna read the intro.
Okay.
Naruto.
I gotta kind of sparse it because it says real people's names, but one day we decided that it would be hilarious if Draco and Hermione had to spend a summer together at Camp Rock. This will be an AU post-Deathly Hallows.
Post-Deathly Hallows?
Yes.
What? They're grown-ups.
Also, it says established Smitchy, which is Mitchie and Shane, probably.
Oh yeah.
Bring it
on.
Okay, chapter 1.
Why isn't he in Camp Rock?
Draco, Smitty from.
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, he's like, son,
I
come
thought
to
you.
Camp Rock.
Thought you meant from Peter Pan.
That's me.
Whatever. Smee can die. Chapter 1. Draco Malfoy was not in the most charming of moods. Being a spy during the war had made him many enemies. The light wizards didn't trust him, and the dark wizards wanted him dead. The magical law enforcement was convinced he was in a great deal of danger, and was trying to persuade him to go into hiding until the rest of the Death Eaters were captured. Something he really didn't want to deal with. After all, the Order of the Phoenix barely tolerated him as a spy during the war. Why would they have changed that now that the boy who lived to annoy had killed Voldemort? The boy who lived to annoy is what Draco called Harry.
The boy who lived to annoy.
That's very funny. He wasn't about to spend Merlin knows how long in hiding with one person, when that person could barely stand him. That not being enough to deal with, business had been difficult to deal with today. The Ministry was watching the Malfoy Enterprises extra carefully for any Death Eater activity, which they would not find, but the Ministry must keep the appearance that it was doing something. So Draco's grumpy ramblings continued in his head. As he moved around the kitchen in his flat, preparing himself dinner, Hermione Granger, one of the few members of the Order who accepted him, had taught him how to cook some basic meals after he joined the Order. As Draco didn't trust others not to poison the food if he ordered takeout, tonight he was making spaghetti. So Draco's living alone in a flat cooking spaghetti.
Hermione's there.
She taught him how to cook, she's not there.
Oh.
Draco had barely eaten a quarter of his plate of spaghetti when the wands around his house alerted him to someone trying to break into the flat. The wards around his house, not the wands around his house.
I was gonna say.
Draco quickly jumped up, wand at the ready. Before he had a chance to move out of the kitchen, Hermione and her fellow Auror, Nymphadora Lupin, apparated next to him. Draco, you're in great danger. We have to leave now. Grab your bag, said Hermione, her tone brooking no argument. What do you mean I'm in danger? What do you mean I'm in danger? I'm a traitor to the Death Eaters. I'll always be in danger, replied Draco sardonically, his trademark smirk firmly in place. Draco, don't argue with me right now, okay? I'm trying to save you, sorry conceited self. Grab your bag, get however much money you'll need for a few months, and let's go, growled Hermione, as if he just has that. I mean, I guess he's rich, but... All right, shouted Draco as he sprinted off down the hallway to his bedroom, with the speed and grace of a seeker. He opened and emptied the contents of his safe, which was $500,000 split between Muggle and magical money. On his way back out of the bedroom, he summoned the bag he kept packed in case he had to leave in a hurry. It had his spare wand, an extra pair of shoes, and several changes of clothes suitable for occasions in the Muggle and magical world. Let's go, they've almost breached the wards, said Nymphadora. Where are we going? Draco asked, running up to stand by the woman. I'll tell you when we get there, Hermione replied.
This man just wanted to eat his damn spaghetti. Abscond with him.
He only got a quarter through his spaghetti.
They're cold.
Draco scowled at her reply. A Malfoy is always in charge of his own destiny. That does not include surprises in the midst of life or death situations. Without letting Draco argue any further, Hermione grabbed his arm and apparated them to an abandoned alley in Muggle London. Listen very carefully, Draco. Until I tell you otherwise, you have a severe case of laryngitis. You can't talk at all, and your name is Drew Bonetti, and I'm Gemma Bonetti. We're adopted brothers and sisters. Just let me do all the talking and go with whatever I say. We're going to be around Muggles for a little bit, so don't do anything rash, instructed Hermione, her chocolate brown eyes boring into his silver blue eyes. Yes, Mum. Wouldn't want to upset the Muggles, of course, replied Draco in a droll tone.
You see, yes, Mum?
Yeah.
When she just said they're supposed to be brother and sister?
Yes.
When I first heard you saying her eyes was boring into hers, I thought he was just calling her eyes boring.
Your eyes boring, Draco. God.
Yes, Mum.
Rolling her eyes, Hermione led the way out of the alley, followed by Draco, with Nymphadora followed behind them. Who's Nymphadora?
I know.
That was somebody.
It said Nymphadora Lupin.
Lupin?
Nymphadora Tonks.
Oh, Tonks is that girl with the hair dye that's in the Order of the Phoenix.
Yes, she's
Alright.
And Lupin, I believe, is the Wolfman.
Nymphadora Tonks.
Yeah, so I don't know why they made her last name Lupin or something earlier.
Maybe.
I think there's two of them.
Oh.
I know Professor Lupin in the third movie was the Wolfman.
Yeah.
But I think he was also part of the Order of the Phoenix.
Well, he's not here now.
Nope, it's just Tonks, the hot hair-dyed witch. Look her up, she's pretty.
Yeah,
Draco looked extremely apprehensive, and Nymphadora amused at her cousin's facial expression. Nymphadora took care of Draco's fare, and without too much ado, they all arrived at Heathrow Airport.
They're actually using the wiki, isn't it?
Bummer.
Sorry, continue.
She reached into an inside pocket of her signature trench coat and pulled out a thick stack of papers.
Signature trench coat.
Her leather trench coat. In the middle of summer. This is everything you'll need paperwork-wise for the muggle or magical world. Everything is exactly as you asked for it, said Nymphadora in a quiet tone. She gave Hermione a hug. Be careful. I don't want to have to train a new partner. Hermione giggled. Of course, don't want to put you out at all. Nymphadora hugged Draco next. Listen to Gemma, and don't be a jit. She's just trying to help.
Oh, she's married to Lupin, that's why.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
She's just trying to help. This isn't easy for her either. Draco rolled his eyes. I wouldn't dream of giving her any trouble at all. Under his breath, he added, She might hex me.
Alright, hold on. We have to decide this now before we get there. Is Camp Rock a muggle or a magical dwelling?
I guess it depends on whether you're not consider the ability to create art magic or not.
You love Harry Potter and Disney, Elias.
Let me think.
It's up to you. Because you can create magic.
I bet they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be magical, but I bet they're gonna start singing, and Draco's gonna be really annoyed.
My spaghetti is cold.
I'll accept that.
I hope at least. I bet Hermione's gonna be like, "Wow, great, this is cool," but she's not gonna sing or anything.
She doesn't get paid enough.
Nymphadora watched Hermione and Draco as they walked through the terminal to the security checkpoint. She barely contained her laughter at the scene. Draco was not too keen on the metal detectors or the security guards waving their wands. Thankfully, Draco followed directions, kept his mouth shut, and didn't hex anyone. Why did the security guard... Oh, they have, metal detecting wands. That's right. Bad choice of words.
I was thinking about that too, but I really hoped nobody would bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I realized it in my head.
Between that and Hermione's natural charm, the pair was able to get on board with their plane with no fuss. As soon as they were seated, in first class, of course, Draco pinned Hermione with a glare that clearly said, "Explain, now." Since no one was watching, Hermione conjured pen and paper and began to write. The Auror department received word yesterday that the remaining Death Eaters not in Azkaban have banded together and are attempting to continue Voldemort's work. As far as we know, they have a hit list of their priority targets, which are to be killed as soon as they are found. We found out this afternoon that you and I are top of that list. You even beat out Harry. Draco quickly read that she wrote before replying. So why are you kidnapping me? Why couldn't we just stay in my flat? It's the most warded building in England besides Hogwarts. Hermione sighed and wrote back. Somehow they found out where your flat was. When Dora and I got to your flat, Selwyn was already there. That's what set the wards off. Somehow they found a way to get around him. So I'm taking you to the safest place I can think of, the last place the Death Eaters will look for you. Draco raised an eyebrow and wrote, And that would be? Hermione looked nervous and replied, Don't be upset with me. I really just want to keep you safe. We're going to a summer camp for teenage muggles in California.
Use character voices, please.
They're writing. It's not... I'm reading the text. Also, okay, I'll read it in their voices. Even though it's italicized, so you know it's being written in the text in the book.
Yeah.
Don't be upset with me. I really just want to keep you safe. We're going to a summer camp for teenage muggles in California. It's called Camp Rock. A muggle cousin of mine goes there every year. Okay, who is Hermione's cousin?
Mitchie!
Draco looked practically murderous. With an angry fervor, he wrote back, A muggle camp? You want me to spend all summer with teenage muggles? Have you gone bloody mad? They'll know I'm different within minutes. I can't masquerade as a muggle. Hermione glared at him. Would you rather be dead? Draco opted not to reply. Hermione whispered, Go ahead.
The one drummer guy's gonna take his wand and use his drumsticks and he's gonna bottle Kadabra.
He definitely would do that.
That's gonna be the plot. Getting their wands back from the drummer kid. God.
Draco opted not to reply. Hermione whispered, My cousin's name is Caitlin Geller. She's going to pick us up from the airport. She'll also help me get you up to speed on how to behave at Camp Rock and as a muggle. Draco snorted. Great. Quality time with a muggle. That's the girl who's the nerdy one who helps out at the mom's kitchen for fun.
Oh, okay.
which makes sense because she's the most nerdy one and so is Hermione.
She looks like Emma Watson, kind of.
Sort of. Hours later, Draco had been... Why did they take a plane? They don't need to do that.
They don't.
Well, the Death Eaters are out looking for broomsticks.
I could use the weird sneeze
You
powder.
could just teleport there or whatever.
The sneeze powder.
Whatever it's called. The flu powder, that's right.
They're using up all of Draco's money. It's a trick.
Hermione just wants to fly first class.
They're gonna bankrupt him.
He's already eaten spaghetti every night as it is.
Yeah, he's rich. You know, he just eats spaghetti.
If you were rich, wouldn't you eat dry spaghetti?
No,
It's the perfect meal.
I'm poor and I wouldn't eat spaghetti.
A plate of spaghetti with no sauce.
That's the worst running joke we have on this show.
Oh, I gotta remember that.
It's so funny because kids always like write that they're eating something and they don't know what to write because they don't know how to freaking make anything, so they just say they're eating spaghetti. Like spaghetti with butter. That's what freaking kids eat, so it's what they always write the stupid characters eating.
Because it's more sophisticated than mac and cheese or pizza.
I guess.
It's spaghetti with no sauce.
A plate of dry spaghetti noodles without any pasta.
I hate that you ate like a quarter of the plate because you can't like eat a you can't like eat a clean quarter of spaghetti. It's just like amount of volume.
You got it.
So we got like a fork or two worth.
He got a fork and a butter knife, cut it into squares.
It's hard to do.
Oh my god.
Draco's eating like a muggle. Hours later, Draco had been having a nice dream about finally winning the Quidditch Cup and finally defeating Harry Potter at something, when a soft voice and a gentle shove woke him up. Drew, you have to get up. We're in Chicago. We have to switch planes. He got a layaway. So inconveniencing.
That's horrible.
Oh no. Draco groaned. But I'm sleeping. Draco whined. Hermione rolled her eyes. Not anymore, you're not. Come on up, Hermione stated. I'm not a broom, Draco managed, yawning. Draco got out of his seat anyways, with another yawn.
This person wrote Draco more label than J.K. Rowling did.
He stood up and grabbed his bag out of the overhead compartment. With sleep still in his eyes, Draco followed Hermione off the plane and into the security checkpoint. After some more charming by Hermione, half of which Draco didn't understand, they were allowed into the United States. Turning towards Draco, Hermione stated, "We have 2 hours before our flight gets to Oakland. Leave. So I'm going to get us some food and then we can head through our last security checkpoint." Draco looked at Hermione skeptically. "I'm hungry, but I'm not..."
He's like 18.
He's eating dry spaghetti!
Wait, what?
What could be worse?
Just boiled noodles. This anorexic little man.
Okay. I'm hungry, but I'm not going to eat any weird muggle food. He's picky.
What's magic food?
Hermione rolled her eyes. "I promise not to get you anything weird. I was actually thinking about sandwiches and crisps." Draco smirked. "Actually, that sounds pretty good." Hermione smirked back. "Yeah, imagine that. I have taste." Hermione led Draco to the subway she saw farther down the terminal hallway.
I
Draco's about to get really mad.
She's like holding his hand as they walk to the subway.
Draco's gonna get in a fight with the subway worker.
Subway!
They're gonna make it to Camp Rock.
God, Harry Potter fanfiction is so funny. They just don't care.
She's gonna fucking give him the bed.
They're not even gonna get to Camp Rock. They're gonna have a fight in the subway and it's gonna be over.
Oh my god. She's gonna make him eat the fucking baked lays. He's not gonna like
They're gonna intricately describe their subway order.
I want a spaghetti sandwich.
Hermione led Draco down to the subway she saw farther down the terminal hallway. They each ordered turkey club sandwiches, a bag of sun chips, and a water bottle. After they finished eating, they went through the checkpoint and sat in the gate area. When no one was looking, Hermione pulled what looked like a small wallet out of her pocket and enlarged it. It was her bag. Quickly, she pulled a book of medium thickness out of the bag and handed it to Draco. Just as quickly, she shrunk it and stuck it back in her pocket. Then she whispered, "This is a guide on living muggles. Read it, Living Among Muggles. It will help give you a foundation of how to behave and speak." Draco scowled but said quietly, "Thank you." Until they were called to the board, Draco read through the book, pausing occasionally to ask Hermione a question. Hermione would answer as best she could, and then go back to people watching. So far, she hadn't seen anything that looked suspicious. The flight to Oakland was fairly uneventful. Draco finished the book, and Hermione napped. Once they were off the plane, Hermione quickly led them down to the terminal and towards the baggage claim. Though neither of them had checked their baggage, that was the easiest place for Caitlin to meet them. Sure enough, not too long after they'd reached baggage claim, a brunette with auburn highlights strode to them, a relieved smile on her face. The first thing Draco noticed about her was her expressive brown eyes. They sparkled as she talked to Hermione. Uh-oh. Draco's horny. "I'm so glad to see you." Oh, wait.
I'm so bad.
I gotta make sure this is... Yeah.
Draco wants to
I
be some
can't tell
cousin
who's
lover.
talking, but I'm gonna pretend it's Caitlin. "I'm so glad to see you, my dear cousin. I was worried when Dora called and said I had to pick up at the airport with a guest," the brunette said. Ah, so this was Caitlin Geller, the cousin. "Yeah, well, I'll tell you more about that later. It's good to see you, too. Caitlin, this is Drew Bonetti. He's my adopted brother," said Hermione softly and politely. Caitlin's eyes lit up with recognition. "Nice to meet you, Drew. You're going to have lots of fun at Camp Rock. It's a great place to be for a summer," said Caitlin, as she turned to look at Draco, gracing him with a civil but genuine smile. "Nice to meet you as well, Caitlin," replied Draco, opting to avoid Hermione's wrath by simply not commenting on the subject of Camp Rock at all. There was no way he could have had fun at Camp Rock, not while pretending to be a teenage muggle instead of the powerful 20-something-year-old wizard on the run from Death Eaters out to kill him that he was. Caitlin looked at him quizzically, as if she'd picked up on what he hadn't said. Hermione simply rolled her eyes and said, "Well, we're tired and hungry, so I'd suggest Subway and then home."
Again? They already had Subway!
I'm so tired of Subway.
"No problem. We can pick your car up tomorrow. For now, we have my dad's Tahoe. It's in the parking garage. I even got a spot close to the door," said Caitlin with a wide grin. "No way! How did you manage that?" replied Hermione. Draco was lost. What's in Merlin's name were they talking about? Car. Car. Oh, that metal contraption that takes you places.
Come on, Draco.
So what's a Tahoe then? Just got lucky, I guess, shrugged Caitlin as they entered the parking garage.
Draco knows what a fucking car
I
is.
thought he asked what a taco is.
They stopped at a Subway near the airport.
Wow.
So they left the airport to go to a Subway that was not in the airport. Even though there's definitely a Subway also in the airport.
No, that was the other airport.
Yeah, but still, it's an airport. They have Subway. And once again, it's like a California airport.
Draco wanted to go to a good Subway.
I want to go to a bougie Subway.
No, I want to go to the better one.
That Subway wasn't very good. Maybe if we go to a different Subway. I liked it conceptually, but the execution was sloppy.
No, I don't like the way this subway smells. The other one will smell different.
This subway smells even worse. Hermione, it smells so.
How long is this story?
It's not that long. Let me see. Oh, let me check the word count actually, just to make sure. Oh no, it's 40,000 words. Holy shit.
Oh my god!
Alright, let's wrap it up.
How many times do they go to fucking
Okay,
Subway?
we'll go to the end.
We'll just assume Draco had fun, Richie and
You
Shane
can read the
had
rest
sex.
one day.
Draco raked all the subways in the local area from best to worst. They were all at the bottom.
They all smell horrible.
Just imagining that skinny emo actor making a grimace walking into a sandwich store.
Okay, the rest of these chapters are all just like petty drama with minor Camp Rock characters. And also racism from Draco. It would
I
appear.
want to hear that one!
So I'm gonna say no, not now. It's gonna be like a marathon one, like the rest of that Scooby-Doo Chipotle story.
We'll just say that that Draco ate too much Subway and now he's
At least one subway trip per chapter.
I rate that not Subway. I rate that story.
What do you rate that Subway?
Not high.
Ooh.
Oh, my ears are... Not my ears.
The only explicit detail in that story was that Draco ate sun chips
And spaghetti.
and spaghetti.
There's a lot of Draco eating.
Draco's a funny ass character.
He's so funny. He starts out as this like wimpy, like bully rich kid. Then as the movies go on, he turns into this horribly sad, like
Right.
depressed daddy issue kid. But now he's back to this rich whiny boy eating Subway.
Let's see here.
God, I swear to God, if I can find any sort of semblance of like a photo of Draco like doing this,
I'm
it will be so worth it for the thumbnail.
Just go through the Deathly Hallows movies where he's flinging his arms around angrily. You can find something.
Frame by frame.
Him motioning to hold a sandwich.
I'll find a way.
What's everyone's rating?
I rate it 2 Subways out of 10. As in the 10 Subways he'll eat in this journey.
I rate it Draco's face when he walks into another Subway that smells even worse.
Out of 10.
Just crushing disappointment.
You know that one that broken scale meter where the face is just like warped in the printer ink, so the eyes are like sunken in on it. It looks so sad.
Yeah.
Alright, this Camp Rock going well until Jared from Subway crashes the party.
I rated
Draco Malfoy has to put up with his shenanigans.
I
And he
rated
smells exactly like the inside of every Subway.
I bet Draco thinks Subway is about as good as Camp Rock 1, and then he walks into another Subway and thinks it's about as good as Camp Rock 2.
That's his rating system. This is like Camp Rock 2.
Let me try to find the part where they walk into Camp Rock for the first time and see what Draco has to say about it.
What are you talking about?
I want to see what he says when he walks into Camp Rock.
Oh, this smells like a Subway.
I thought I liked Subway, but I guess I don't. It's very bad. makes me sad.
Muggle food. I hate
You
Subway.
muggles and your sandwiches and your sun chips.
Why is it smell ass in this room?
This episode of Crossing the Line is brought to you by Subway. Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Okay, I'm gonna read this excerpt.
Okay, make it quick.
If you are to be attending Camp Rock this year, the first thing you need to learn, sir, is that Camp Rock we have a respect for our fellow campers, especially those of the female persuasion, said a rather tense male voice. Draco turned with an expression on his face somewhere between shock and annoyance. Okay, that's all.
You fuck.
Out of 10.
You better get away from me, you fucking.
Thank you everybody for joining us at Camp Rock this year. We had a really great time, and we'll be back next year for more Rockitude. Woohoo! What's that, Steven? It's an owl. You hear that?
Oh shit, he's got a letter for me. Oh
he's got a bag of sun chips in his mouth.
shit. Oh shit. Oh, he smells really bad, like burning rye bread. We're gonna have to kill this owl.
It's the Subway owl delivering Draco's Subway.
I like it's wearing a little Subway hat.
Wow, it's in the house. It's in the house.
Oh fuck. Throw something at it.
Okay, that's the ending.